Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Delusions of Grandeur. I'm your host, SeptumSin, standing in for David Striggy for the meantime, and
Oh, what? I
also
thought that was Dave. What the fuck?
also the host of the evening for the very last epic conclusion to Ron's birthday month. We definitely ended a bang as we cover Frank is it Coraci? Uh, Film. Where's Jake when you need him? He pronounces all these names. The 1998 film, The Waterboy, starring Adam Sandler. If you couldn't tell by the picture.
Mama always say it.
So this film is about a water boy played by Adam Sandler who is just that's all he wants to do is be a water boy, and he ends up on a kind of diamond in the rough football team where he discovers innate his innate ability to tackle and create great water experiences. So let's start off here. Why don't we start with Ron and our the Water Boy? I'm pretty sure this probably wasn't your first choice, first watch if you had picked this out.
Yeah, no, definitely not my first watch. I watched it. I didn't see it in the theaters. I think we rented it. Um, back when you could rent movies. Um, and I remember. I decided to have a little bit of recreational drugs in my system watching this movie. Um,
Fuck yeah, I didn't
I,
expect that.
I was tripping on acid watching this
Yes.
for the first time,
Oh
and
man.
I literally thought I was gonna die laughing. My insides hurt, my outsides hurt, like everything hurt from laughing so hard. Like everything was just. I mean, the movie's funny, you know, but every little thing was just the most funniest thing I've ever seen. So, I mean, I laugh at you watching this now without being under any influence. But that first time, I thought I was going to die laughing. It was
Yeah.
so hilarious. It was so over the top in my head that, like when I saw Kathy Bates as the mom, I think hadn't, it wasn't too long before that I'd seen Misery. And I just thought it
Yeah.
was so hilarious that she was the mom, and I was like, it's Kathy Bates, and I just laughed my ass off, just because it was Kathy Bates, and she did a great job in the role. But yeah, it was. I love this movie. Um, I love the cast. Of course, Adam Sandler. I mean, that pretty much for me goes without saying. Um, but all the supporting cast was great. Henry Winkler did such a great job playing the crazy coach. Um, you know, just a great job, great job. It's funny how his roles went from the Fonz to everything he's playing playing like a wimpy character in most everything else. Where the Fonz, he was this whole cool guy. But yeah, this movie is definitely one of my top comedies of all time. We covered one of the other ones with Liar Liar, so I'm glad we were able to cover two of my favorite comedies of all time. Um, and yeah, so that's basically it for First Impressions movie.
Well, to the next one down here. How about you, Mo? Is this your first time watching The Water Boy?
Oh no, dude. I've seen this movie so many fucking times, like an insane amount of times. I was unsure about it, but I actually did talk to my brother, and we saw Waterboy at the drive-in. And our drive-in was always running like fucked up double features, so I'm pretty sure we saw this with like Cruel Intentions or something, something like that.
Oh
It
yeah,
would always be like a feel-good movie.
it should have been Wolfman.
In 1999,
Hold on, dude. My dog just got bit, so I'll be right back.
Oh, well, why don't we go over to you, Forrest, and we'll come back to Mo when he comes back.
All right. Well, this is not my okay. So no, this is far from my first time watching this movie. Like Mo, I have seen this movie so many fucking times over the last 24 years. Well, over the last 23 years since it came out. I remember my mom. Like I remember when it came out. My mom. I wanted to see Bride of Chucky, but my mom. But we had company. My mom's like, no, we're going to see the Waterboy instead. But I was pleasant. But I remember like watching in theaters as an 11-year-old and just laughing my ass off. It's a movie that I frequently watch whenever it comes on TV, or like growing up, if it was on television, or if I was looking for a movie to rent. This was one of my go-tos. It was also my first. I think it was also my first time watching an Adam Sandler movie. But yeah, I think it's fucking hilarious. Definitely one of my favorite. I would say it's probably one of my top 10 sports movies. And as far as movies about football, it's definitely one of my favorite. It's definitely one of my favorites. It's such a quotable. It's such a stupid, fun, quotable, a very, very quotable movie. Mm-hmm. And with Kathy Bates. So Kroll, you said you had first seen Kathy Bates in Misery, right?
Yeah, I saw her in Misery.
Yeah, no,
it hadn't been too long before I saw the Waterboy, so it was still pretty fresh.
I was the exact opposite. Like, because I actually saw this movie before I saw Misery. I know Kathy Bates had a small role in Dick Tracy, but as far as like, which that one I had seen many, many times before either of those movies, but this is one where the first one where I remember seeing Kathy Bates like front and center. And I think she and Henry Winkler steal the movie. Also, Blake Edwards as Farmer Fran, the assistant coach with a thick Cajun accent and nipple rings.
Oh yeah.
And so the three, I would say the three of them are great. Are hilarious.
But I dare you to quote anything he said, because yeah.
Wait, anything? Oh, anything he said?
The assistant coach, like you don't know. Oh, yeah. It just sounds funny, but who knows what the hell he said? Gotta get it to dry.
I know. I will sometimes look up clips of this movie on YouTube, and I will see comments from Cajun saying that is the most accurate depiction they have seen of a Cajun accent.
Really? Yeah, I had a friend. She
apparently so.
Cajun.
Was that all you had for us, Forrest?
Oh man. Well, I just want to say also have to give props to also Fairuza Balk as Vicky Valancourt. She was also great too. Very sexy and also like but very likable too.
Yeah, I had seen her in, of course, the as a witch in the other movie, and it was funny when Kathy Bates calls her a witch. Like, come inside before she puts a spell on you. And I just thought that was kind of a funny throwback to
The Craft.
The Craft, yeah. So yeah. I really liked her. I thought she was great in The Craft. She's great in this. She's great in everything she's done. I really liked her as an actress.
And it seems like she kind of just vanished after the 90s.
Yeah, she's got that hot gothic look, and just and that don't fuck with me look too.
Yeah. I just want to give props to a lot of quite a number of the cameos in this movie, including the Big Show as Captain Insano.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
And then Lawrence Taylor, even though his cameo kind of seems a little ironic now, because
that's the football player, right?
Yeah, because I remember after Bobby, he tells the kids don't smoke crack, don't do. And then
to my next point, don't do crack.
Right. But then flash forward 20 years later, and Lawrence Taylor's got a drug problem.
Oh,
along-
really?
I think he slept with I think he also slept with an underage girl.
Well, a lot of them do. In
Well,
those.
you know, you're on drugs. You don't realize you don't check their ID, right?
Real easy to get there. So, Mo, did you get back with us? Well, all right. Well, just let us know, Mo. I'll go ahead into mine. So, of course, I always have a love-hate relationship with Adam Sandler. Um, but I'll admit, unlike Jim Carrey, where I admit Liar Liar is probably one of my least favorite of his comedy movies, this one is one I considered funny. It's not my favorite. I've started to think it's between Happy Gilmore and Mr. Deeds.
Both
But
great films.
you know, I have some. Hmm?
I would say as far as like good Sandler, I would say from Airheads to Mr.
Oh yeah,
D.
I loved Airheads too. But that's the thing is, and Sandler, a lot of his early stuff, I almost would consider him a, gosh, what is the name of the guy who did the original Mr. Deeds? Mr. Deeds Goes to Town.
Washington. Oh,
Yeah, that's the other thing there.
Wasn't that like Jimmy Stewart or something?
Capra. Capra.
Capra,
Frank Capra. I always thought of him as doing all these Capra-esque films early in his career, where he's playing every guy's. And a lot of people think of Capra as more of an artsy director, but if you think about it, if you look at Capra's work, it's not all that artsy in many ways. A lot of Jimmy Stewart's character in Mr. Deeds Goes to Town acts identically to Deeds in that movie, which is why when I saw it later. I was like, wow, they nailed this spot on. I really do wish that.
I think the butler is the funniest part of that movie. I mean, he was just every time he turned around, he was there. It was like how do you get around so fast? Like he's always just there.
I wish that instead of Chris Rock doing the Mr. Smith Goes to Washington remake, I would have loved to have seen Adam Sandler tackle that, because I think he would have hit it right on the head.
I didn't know Chris Rock had done a remake of that.
Oh yeah, I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, that was a film, because he did a Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. So I mean, Waterboy was one that always flew under the radar for me. I've watched it a couple of times here and there. I couldn't tell you when. It just was one of those that kind of fit in with the Adam Sandler films. I thought it was entertaining, but it wasn't my favorite or my least favorite. But watching it this time, I did get a lot of enjoyment. And then I watched a summary for it so that I could prepare, because I realized, oh crap, I'm hosting this. I probably better know what order the scenes are in. And I definitely laughed a lot throughout. The scene I remember the most is always that one where you've got Henry Winkler going, Gatorade. And
yeah, that is a very memorable scene.
So
the water sucks. It really sucks.
So I do think it's a great pick, and though not my favorite Adam Sandler film, definitely one that I enjoyed and made me laugh a considerable bit. So definitely a good choice.
Thank you.
Oh, before we hit into plot, are you back with us, Mo? All right. Well, we're going to just launch into the plot and come back. We've got another film after this, so I do want to keep watch on the time. But once Mo gets back, and we got others coming in late, so he can join them as well. We have, of course, our Waterboy with a very popular college football team in Louisiana, and he has got one heck of a water setup. I was with the guy who was watching on the YouTube videos, watching like, why are you firing this guy? He's got distilled water, rainwater, he's got all these types of things. But they're all like,
I know, he's like the best water boy ever.
and also, I think within the context of the movie, he is the last water boy.
Yes. Because they're all going to Gatorade and other things like that. So there's
or bottled water.
Yeah. So he is the master of his craft, and the coach is just like kicks him off. And he's like, "No, you've annoyed me for the last time. Bye bye."
Yeah, he's disrupting the football team because they're all picking on him. You know, he's disrupting because he's being picked on.
He's so easy to bully, so they just
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it wouldn't stop with that team either.
And I'll admit, I have not been a big fan. I'm not a fan of a lot of football stuff, and I don't follow it. But the football team
I'm not
in my
really a
school,
football fan either, but
they were like real bullies. They'd actually go around. They had the teachers ignore it. They would break kids' arms and stuff and get away with it. And it was kind of scary type things back in those days. So I admit, and that was my experience with football. Was these people will break your arm, smash your head in lockers till it bleeds, just for the heck of it. And then
my high school and college didn't. Yeah, my high school and college didn't have football teams, so never had to deal with like I never had to deal with like the stereotypical asshole jocks.
Yeah, that is the.
Where I went to high school, there were big championship teams.
Ours always lost, but they always treated them like they won.
Yeah, ours won so much they hardly ever won in the paper. The first loss they ever had was front page because they never lost. It was like, whoa, they lost. They were actually called the Boxers. If you know boxing at all, there's two famous boxers from Brockton, Massachusetts. Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Rocky Marciano.
But this kind of reminded me a little bit of that back then, and the bigger bullies, even though all of them tended to bully him, that was kind of the worst group. But they were that champion team. They're the ones that just couldn't lose. You can see he has this playbook, and he keeps cradling it tight to him.
Yeah.
By the way, is it just me, or did it seem like a lot of the guys in this football team seem a little old for college football?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like Nini was definitely too old for football.
Yeah, like he should have been playing in the NFL already.
Yes,
right.
He's doing himself a disservice by not playing in the NFL already.
I mean, let's face it, Waterboy was actually too old to be college.
Oh yeah. He was 31.
Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't be. I mean, he'd be old enough for college, but to play on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's. I mean, and the character even states he's 31 when he talks to Captain Insano later.
Yeah, and that's when they. How old are you, kid? 31.
41 years old.
And they'll laugh their asses off now. That guy's a virgin.
You do get to see him ride the riding lawnmower, which is his transportation, all the way back to the bayous.
Oh my God. Laughed so hard at that scene too. I mean, it's just, get out of the road, you moron.
And then you get the Kathy Bates character, which, and
Mama.
She kind of plays a character very similar to the character in Misery. I'd say that would be how she would be as a mother.
My mama said.
She always is cooking these like critters of some sort.
Cooking critters. Squirrel. Cooking critters and like demonizing everything that's not demonizing
it's
everything.
The devil. Football's the devil. Girls are the devil.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's food.
School is the devil.
I mean, there's one scene in a flashback where they have a moose, and I gotta wonder where in the heck in Louisiana did she bag a freaking moose?
Right.
Jacob's hopping in.
All right, very good. So we will pause once. Well, actually, no. We'll keep going at least through this scene, and then we'll get back to his first impression. So, this one just basically introduces the character, introduces the fact that he's very much a mama's boy, and she doesn't like him going out and doing this stuff anyway.
Not even working. Yeah.
that his father disappeared after going to the city and then somehow ended up dying of thirst in the Sahara Desert.
Yeah, that's what she tells him. And that's why he's the water boy, because he wants to make sure nobody ever dies of thirst again.
Which that story is fishy, like right off the bat.
Right?
But I'll admit, okay, I have to ask, for people who have seen enough Adam Sandler movies, it's weird enough that it could be bought right off the bat. I don't. I mean, that was how I looked at it. I was like, okay, I guess I could buy this. First time I watched it, just like it's an Adam Sandler movie. It could happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if the
all
rest
his
of you thought
movies
that.
are a little bit out there, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, being a rich kid that the daddy pays for him to finish go through school again, you know, like all grades and stuff.
Yeah, that was it.
Um,
I actually liked that one more
no,
and more.
it's a great movie, but
With the penguin.
you know, realistic, not really. You know, but,
Penguin's my favorite character in that film.
oh yeah, the penguin is great. I love what's his name is the bus driver and particularly the gay bus driver.
And of course, you have the scene with Captain Insano, which I did find that entertaining. They just start laughing at him as soon as he's like 30.
Yeah.
Like laughing until he's basically laughing, laughing until he's crying. He does it so well too.
Yeah. Big Show did a great job on that one.
Do you think? So, what do y'all think of Adam Sandler's character as the Waterboy?
I mean, he's a caring guy, and you know he loves his mom, and you know he just wants to. He's simple and just wants to do simple things, and you know he's not very well versed in anything else. I mean, who's homeschooled and kept away from
Sheltered.
Sheltered. I mean, the only outside influence he has is being the water boy and for football teams, and you know that's about it. So he's never learned any social skills, and of course from there, you know, he never got any friends because all they did was pick on him. Yeah, I mean, he's a decent character, relatable in some ways. You know, he's a little too simplistic for me, but you know how nice he is relatable.
What about the mother? What did y'all think of her?
I mean, she's not. She's kind of she's somewhat of a bad guy in a way, but I mean, you can kind of understand. Okay, her husband left her.
Yeah.
She's afraid to lose her son. She holds on holds on too tight, obviously.
Well intentioned, but overbearing.
Exactly. I mean, she definitely overshielded him way too much, and she realizes it. You know, as we'll get to, but she's a likable character. You don't even though you don't agree with some of the things she does. She's not really mean. She's not really the villain per se. But yeah, she definitely holds way too tight and stuff. So she's a good character though.
Well, we got Jake in our audience. So Jake, was this your first time watching Waterboy?
Yes, am I coming through?
Yes.
Yes, it was actually.
Wow, really?
Wow.
Yeah. I had seen maybe a couple of scenes. I mean, and of course, there's a couple parts that you couldn't really escape for a few years there. You know, you can do it. You know, some of that stuff you can't.
Head off.
But yeah, no, I'd never seen it. I'm kind of mixed on Adam Sandler. I've never been a big fan, but I enjoy his movies well enough. It just wasn't a priority to me to get to this one, but it was always on the radar, so I'm glad I had an excuse to finally watch it. And it's a fun movie. I enjoyed it. I love the music. It's a great soundtrack. Sandler's performance itself is one of the weaker points of the film, sadly. But overall, it was pretty fun. I'm glad I saw it.
Well, that's good. Well, we were in the middle of just our introduction to Sandler's character and the mother. Did you have anything that you wanted to say about those two characters when we're moving on?
About Bobby and Mama Boucher?
Yep.
Well, I mean, one of the big things with Sandler is he has that sort of, his humor is largely based on him playing like a big baby, but a good-hearted one. You know, sometimes he has anger management issues like in Happy Gilmore, but this one was more kind of like the Billy Madison sort of, just like a big dumb goof, you know? And
I would say a bit of, one bit Billy Madison, one bit of Cajun Man from Saturday Night Live.
Right. And I'm only moderately familiar with this SNL output. Like, I've definitely, I mean, everyone's seen the Hanukkah song sketch, you know, and there's a couple little bits like, what's that?
I would say the Lunch Lady Land.
Yeah. But basically, I could see how people might take issue with his performance, but I feel like it doesn't feel mean. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's one of the things that makes the movie work as well as it does, is it could have come off as very mean-spirited, and it didn't. His mom is a little different. I love seeing Kathy Bates just kind of go for it in a completely crazy, silly role. She is a very talented actress, and this was a different role for her. I think she comes off as kind of a little bit of a harpy, a little bit of a killjoy, but again, overall, you feel like she at least feels like it's coming from a place of love. Yeah.
Indeed. Well, Mo, have you gotten back to us yet? No. Okay. Well then. Well, I guess we'll keep going then. So our Waterboy puts on his best leisure suit. I don't know why, but I was getting Cousin Eddie flashbacks there, as he goes and in search of a job, and he meets Henry Winkler's character, the coach of a not so well-known team. What's the Mud Dogs, right?
South Central.
Indeed.
Yep, the South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs.
Yeah, and he's kind of like having his own existential crisis as he's feverishly trying to come up with a plan, and he just keeps falling flat. And he indicates the water that he's giving his players, and I'm just like, oh God.
Yeah.
Well, I love when he's like, oh, come here. He's like trying to tell him, I got this plan.
Please.
They fake to the left. No. They fake to the right. No. He pretends to fake. And he's like, I'm lost.
Yeah.
Totally like just lost what he was thinking.
I did like, actually, this is one thing about Bobby as a character that I do like, is that he may be a little bit, less than fully there relative to what most people would be expecting, but he does know his water, and he is serious about it. And I love the look of horror that he has when Winkler shows him that. Hey, Dave.
You just promised not to serve them that water.
Yes, you must promise. Yes, you must promise never to. Yes. And I will say, I'll go ahead and throw in here, one of my favorite things about the movie, I know it was probably tantamount to stunt casting, but thankfully it worked very, very well. But I loved seeing Henry Winkler as the anti-Fonz.
Yes. Oh, it was perfect.
I mean,
I mentioned...
Up to that point, I had been watching Happy Days reruns on Nick at Night at that time, and so for me like that, and so that was kind of really the only thing I knew him for when going into this movie, and just seeing like like you were saying, he is the he can totally turn it like he goes from the cool guy to like he just turns it around to a basket case.
Right.
Yeah, before you joined, Jacob, I actually had gone through that he had played the Fawns and he was so cool and awesome, and I watched that as a kid, and I always loved the Fawns, and I always thought he was really cool, and then it's like not just this movie, and he's in the
Arrested
other
Development.
Yeah.
he plays a lot of wimpy characters. He's really good at
Right.
it. It's great.
If you
watch how he does, which is pretty much the opposite of the Fawns. So yeah, I was saying that earlier.
Right. Now I'll admit it probably didn't hit me as hard as it could have, because this is y'all were mildly shocked. It seemed that I'd never seen The Waterboy, but I've never seen an episode of Happy Days.
Wow.
I've seen bits and pieces. So again, I did see Arrested Development. I've actually seen it 3 times. So I saw Winkler in there. I've seen Scream several times. I just watched The French Dispatch the other night. He has a small role in there.
And he's also
have you seen Little Nicky?
Obviously, he's also on. He's also on Barry on HBO. He just won his first Emmy for it.
I need to see Barry. That's another one on my to-do list. But this is one where but the Fonz is such a pop culture icon.
Yeah, you need
that
to
you don't have to. You know it, even if you haven't ever seen the show. You know the character.
Especially here in Milwaukee, they have a statue downtown in bronze or gold or something like that they have of him.
They don't have it in Fonz?
They call it the bronze Fonz.
I knew he was capable of doing that particular way of even a more nerdy character from watching all the episodes of Happy Days, because he did a nerdy type thing a couple of times just to show. Oh, we got another person over here. There we go. But why don't we go ahead, since we got two more of our people here. So let's start with you, Dave. Is this your first time watching The Waterboy?
Oh, heck no. This is a movie that I've seen on repeat many, many, many times. I used to have it on VHS. I don't think I saw it in the theater, but out of Adam Sandler's pick of films, this is one of my favorite roles of his, besides 50 First Dates.
One of the others I haven't seen.
Maybe because I do have a disability, and I have been abused like that before. And he's able to rise and accomplish much, and of course my mom wasn't quite as psychotic as Kathy Bates was. That's like toxic love there for you. But I did have a fair amount of smothering growing up, so that being said, I really enjoy the performances here. I really enjoy the comedy. But that being said, there are a few comedy things that I don't think in this day and age hold well.
I think you could say that about all Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
The ones that are made today don't hold up well.
In the day of cancel culture, I'm surprised that they haven't cut that that part where the one African American football player visualizes a kicked football, and it just so happens to
the
be
KKK.
Yep.
Yeah, that was great. I love that part.
Well, it was great at the time, and it's still
Great
great
now, it's
for
great
me
then.
now. But in this day and age,
You know my thoughts of
cancel
this day and age.
culture.
You know
I
my
agree.
thoughts on cancel culture.
I agree. The people in the clan would definitely be offended and call.
Yeah, yeah. If they don't want to offend the clan, I mean, they are wholesome people after all.
Well, there was a movement to say that we shouldn't be hard on Nazis because Nazis are good people. That was around there, so I guess you could say that for the clan as well in this day and age. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I don't know that you need to.
And I guess it doesn't hurt Adam Sandler that he comes out dressed like Jim Varney.
I do
Yeah,
like
but he's
that
way better.
I do like that the character is actually not stupid. He's just naive. And
Yeah, because I mean, he takes that test and passes. So honestly, he did learn a lot, even though he thought crocodiles were alligators were ornery because they didn't have no toothbrush.
Got all them teeth, no toothbrush.
But other than that, he learned. He taught him. He read everything, and he learned, and he took those tests and passed on his own. So yeah, he wasn't stupid. He just a little naive, a little slow, and his mom basically said she did everything. Thomas Edison's a devil. I invented the light bulb.
So, Dave, did you have anything else to say on your first impression?
Not at this point in time. I mean, there's so much in this movie that packs like a little bit of a punch, and I just thoroughly enjoy it every time I watch it. I still laugh at moments, so that's at least something. So, and my humor is a little strange, so maybe that's why I get a kick out of it. So, that being said, it's pretty much it.
So, Tammy, was this your first time watching The Waterboy?
No, definitely not. I've gotten into, over the years, a lot of the Adam Sandler movies, but I remember when I watched this the first time, though, I was surprised by some of this stuff, because I was like, wow, okay, they went there. Okay. So I found it very amusing. I agree that some of the stuff now probably wouldn't fly as much as it did back then, but it's still funny. I like all the different, all the weird different stuff they came up with. So it was enjoyable.
All right. Well, Mo, have you returned to us? Well, all right. Well, I guess we'll march forward. We've already kind of covered up to the point where he has met with Henry Winkler as his coach and joins the Mud Dogs as their new water boy, which it can only be an improvement upon what they had. And again, he is bullied pretty much by the team. I remember there was a point where the guy spits in the cooler, and I was watching a commentary on it as a reminder of what was going on, and I said, "Oh, now you can't drink that." I was like, "What? They were drinking that roach water. I'm pretty sure the little spit's not gonna bother them." But that he not only is being made fun of, except for the one guy who kind of comes over and makes friends with him right away. But
he's like, "My mama says that too." Whatever it was he said.
He then Winkler comes in there and says, like, "Why'd you let him do that? Why you let him walk over? You gotta show that this, because the other coach said you can't."
Well fine-tuned machine.
So he ended up. So he's like, okay, well, he ends up tackling the dude and knocking him basically speechless. So that's and then of course
He
prompts
definitely deserved it.
the coach to say, "Hey, why don't you join the team?" He's like, "Well, can I still be Waterboy?" I'm trying to think of what was it. Oh, I'm thinking of UHF where the guy, the janitor's like, "Wait, can I still be the janitor?" He's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
Michael Richards.
So, what did y'all think of that scene where we get to see the Waterboy's anger?
It was great. I mean, he just tackled him so great. It came out of nowhere. He was like, and came shouting after him. I was thinking about all the people that had made him.
I mean, who didn't have that thought of like, hey, there's that bully, and they're giving me permission to basically go and wail on this dude.
Hey, sorry about that, guys.
Oh, well,
Hey, welcome back, Mo.
Hopefully hopefully everything is okay.
He's pretty fucked up, but I think he'll survive. My brother's dog got a hold of him. Apparently, he tested his luck when they were getting fed leftovers or something, and she didn't take kindly to it. She's not very well trained, so it's not even necessarily her fault. It's my brother's, but whatever.
Well, hopefully things will be all right.
Yeah, he's got a quarter of a baby aspirin in him and plenty of begging strips down there. I think he'll be all right.
Oh, did you want to finish your first impression of the Waterboy?
Yeah, I think I was like I'm pretty sure that after talking with my brother about it, we saw this at the drive-in for sure. I don't remember what we saw it with, but like I said, they were a fan of pairing stuff like this with just movies they shouldn't be paired with. And I feel like it might have been Cruel Intentions. But I was a big fan of it right away. Ended up getting it towards I feel like the tail end of those movie clubs that your parents would get tricked into sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So we ended up getting the tape through one of those, I feel like, and then I just would watch it constantly. And it's a good time. Probably not a movie that could get made in the same way today. But that kind of goes without saying with a lot of comedies from this era. So not too surprising. I think it's a lot of fun. Fairuza Balk is possibly at her hottest outside of Island of Dr. Moreau. And yeah, that's about it.
Oh, we're about to get to that part. You know what? I always thought to myself, if you're talking inappropriate pairings, I think the Waterboy would go very well with Debbie Does Dallas. That just seems like appropriate.
I feel that. I saw Air Bud with Halloween H2O, I'm pretty sure. So anything can work if you're adventurous.
Actually, when Abe Vigoda died, I did a back-to-back double feature of The Godfather and Good Burger.
Oh, wow.
There you go. Holy shit. That sounds amazing.
Well, of course, so he invites the coach back to his place to discuss this. But of course, he does run into the bad girl that he's kind of sweet on, and she's sweet on him. And she's kind of messing with his ride, his fancy mower. And they have a nice little exchange back and forth. And he, I think, invites her to to cookout, which she shows up to later on in the movie. What do y'all think of her character?
She's a devil. She's an enchantress.
She is an
people
enchantress.
fell on him.
She is relatively enchanting in her own way.
Oh yeah, she's hot, but like I said, she plays that "don't fuck with me" type character.
She's like,
Right.
Yeah,
for some reason she has a thing for Bobby. She just she's totally into him. Even sometimes she doesn't know why.
It's that Brillo pad hairdo, dude. Let's not pretend like we all didn't want to run our fingers through it. Okay.
But she was hot.
Vicky's great. She's tough. She's sexy. She's
a great character.
She brings Bobby out of his shell.
Yep.
So.
I just keep looking at the scene where he's taking a test, and she's showing up with like the
should
knife, should I kill him?
I love how she's always getting in trouble too.
Yeah. She's like, I just got out of jail.
But he rides that.
I'm gonna steal the Porsche.
Yes. Shoot, that mower rides almost as fast as one by the time she's.
But you can tell. She genuinely cares for Bob. Like even when she's like threatening the coach Red with a knife, like she genuinely cares for Bobby.
Yeah,
And
she's totally into Bobby.
I think it's safe to
like,
say
she looks out for her
too.
loved ones.
Oh, sorry, Forrest. What's that?
I was just saying, and she seems like someone who's like very loyal and looks out for her loved ones.
Oh yeah, that's probably even Dane mentioned that to me in a private chat, just talking about Waterboy. That that's it's a solid quality of her character in this film, which makes her very endearing. I think it's pretty safe to say too that if you were like, I don't want to say, what do you call it, like an alternative dude, if you're into like rock and metal in the late 90s, pretty much Fairuza Balk was probably on your crush list kind of a thing. Between this, Island of Dr. Moreau, and The Craft.
The Craft and shit. I mean,
I haven't seen the new Dr. Island Moreau, so
the stuff she was in. I mean, shoot, American History X. Even she was like the edgy chick at that. Yes. Well, there were a couple, but she was one of them.
I keep thinking of a redneck joke that Jeff Foxworthy once said. If you've ever gone up to the top of a water tower to defend your sister's honor, you might be a redneck.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, I got a kick out of how opposite that they were. They say opposites attract, They definitely do in this movie.
You see how many pockets he has on his vest, dude? I'd be attracted to that too.
He does have some good water though.
That's thing.
Yep. Some good H2O.
He does show off later on his favorite water, but of course we come back and we have a dinner with the coaches there, eating a big old python or anaconda, or whatever the heck that is. Which
is he really quiet to anybody else, or is that just me?
No, he's super quiet. Something's going to be hell.
Yeah.
Mike, is it sounding better?
No.
You're super quiet, Brandon, for some reason.
Uh-oh.
Well, that's just weird.
I got it hooked up to my camera.
Well, that's better.
Can you hear it now?
We can.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that. So, any case, I don't know exactly what kind of snake it was that she ended up having there. Actually, Jake, you're the snake expert.
I was going to say.
I'm pretty sure as a wildlife expert, we've already noticed that there's a moose that she somehow killed in Louisiana. So are mooses normally
no?
How about that snake that she was cooking up?
Probably not. I don't remember precisely what it looked like, but I vaguely remember the one you're talking about, and I seem to remember that it was definitely a boid of some sort. Whether it was a boa or a python, I don't recall. But definitely not some you're likely to see. I won't say it was something you would not see in Louisiana, but it wouldn't be native there.
Right. That's what I was going to say. The way I understand it, those pythons are just released all the time, all over those southern states.
She definitely had some interesting meals cooked for Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, those little fried. Where were they? Hard-boiled gators, or I don't know what the heck they were supposed to be.
Jelly gators by the end.
Gators.
I love how the coach asked what he's eating, and she goes, the knee.
I think it would be his knee. But I did notice that there was a couple of things, like, some giant potatoes, and those biscuits did look good. I'll give it that. I'd go for some potatoes and biscuits over there. Those look good.
Oh yeah, can't go wrong there. I don't know, man. Any of you guys ever try gator?
Oh, I mean, tastes like turtle.
I haven't tried turtle, but I'll have to take your word for it. I enjoyed it,
we
though.
Don't try turtle. We have pet turtle. No.
I'll eat a fucking turtle right now. I had a pet turtle for 8 years. I often look at my pets around the house and think, in a pinch, sweet baby rays all day, baby.
Turtle kind of has like a kind of shellfish.
You have the cat, and you think you're eating Chinese food, right?
I mean, it's probably good lean meat.
Yeah, definitely a different meat than snake. Snake, I think, is kind of like more of a fish.
Yeah, I'd like to try it. It's on there. Snake and turtle, I think I will endeavor to you know.
But definitely Snake does not look like what Henry Winkler put on his plate when he cut it off. That looked more like ham. But with that being said, he proposes it, but she's not going to let him play no foosball because it's the devil and forbids him from doing it. But as Henry Winkler says, what Mama no can't hurt her. As he shows off her butt cheek.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
As he proceeds to pull down his pants and reveal his a tattoo of Roy Orbison on his ass.
That was not his ass. That could not have been his ass. He's
definitely it was double.
Like
yeah,
I won't claim that I examined it close enough to tell, but
well, you guys always say things about the women. I get to say something.
No, I feel you. Well, it just wasn't nice enough of an ass.
It's just like in Pretty Woman. Those pair of tits ain't her tits. So.
Well,
I'm more of a fan of the Mel Gibson persuasion of ass shots. I mean, I like a little fuzz on that peach. You know what I'm saying? But I think that the Roy Orbison ass tattoo, if you're ever just like in need of a tattoo idea and you just want to get one put on there, which a lot of people do, consider the Waterboy tat. I think that.
Oh yeah. Right. I think it's good to have a stunt ass every once in a while.
Yeah,
we need one of those.
Also, what do we think of Bobby's deputy dog pajamas?
I mean, they want to portray that childlike, just because, and Adam Sandler has that focus, or at least not him, but he tends to be taking these parts of these childlike people. Well, I mean, Billy Madison was like that, though Billy Madison came across as more of a frat boy. And
I'd say more of a high schooler to me.
I mean,
hey, David, don't you have a set of those pajamas?
Oh my!
There ain't nothing wrong with rocking some underoos or some shit, bro. Embrace it.
I think Dave just admitted he has deputy dog pajamas. It's okay. I wish.
Oh no!
I hope his sheets don't look like Bobby's.
It would be more like Hong
they
Kong
would be the
food.
same sheets that Tim is sleeping on.
So
we're not that kind of married couple where we sleep in separate beds,
You don't push them together on a special occasion. You know what I'm saying?
No, we got a king size bed.
Hell
okay?
Yeah. California king?
I don't even know.
I don't even know what that means. I just heard it once and thought it sounded funny. Sorry,
no,
Brandon.
it's not a California king. There are actually beds like.
Yeah, aren't those massive like orgy beds or whatever?
Oh yeah. But of course, he decides to do that and join college, and he's interested in getting an education. So he, joins the team, and they kind of make fun of him until, Henry Winkler can't get him to necessarily do it. I do love how he says, do like that wrestler. He just pokes him in the eye.
Do it like Captain Encino does. He just poked me in the eye.
Captain Encino shows no mercy.
But he does get the idea of, okay, just imagine it. And then he imagines the coach basically saying, making fun of him. And then he ends up ramming him and knocking him silly. And I agree with the commentator that I listened to. It's like, hey, you knew he's going to tackle you. Why didn't you wear a helmet on that stuff? I do find it odd also that they are so poor that they cannot afford helmets for the entire team.
Or jockstrap.
To me, I think they had a helmet and they hid him or something. That's what I would think, that they hid the helmets so he wouldn't get one because they didn't like him.
That cup scene for me, where they're just exchanging used cups, I can only imagine that feels for me like the scene in Black Christmas did for Kim when the woman asks to just has said, "Yeah, I just borrowed your Diva cup."
Oh shit!
I'm just like, oh, what kind of nasty stuff is this?
I mean, I would say that the jock strap is several steps below that. I mean, there's several layers of material between you and a cup typically. like the actual cup itself.
Oh, well,
The
that's
strap
Job,
is what
yeah.
you got to worry about, you know.
But still, that's kind of, you know, again, it's harder to get close to that level though, because that's it. Oh,
I've seen some foul things done with those over the years, as I'm sure anyone with an imagination can.
But that was when Kim stopped watching Black Christmas.
I don't blame her. I think I might have tapped out then too. That seems a couple of steps over the line, you know. Does anybody give a shit about the rules? Fucking diva cup swapping. That's disgusting.
On top of that, we also get to see his first class with Colonel Sanders.
And I love how they have Colonel Sanders too as the teacher.
And it has that line that Ron has been saying about a lot. You know, the crocodiles are angry because they have so many teeth and no toothbrush. Or
the alligators are ornery because they have all those teeth and no toothbrush.
Or where happiness comes from.
Oh, I love that one. Mama said happiness comes from a rainbow.
He straight up did something that had gotten him expelled anywhere else.
I know. Like I was like thinking when I watched it this time, I'm like, wow, we're still in school.
Coach said I could.
Coach said I could.
So what do y'all think of our teacher here? I don't know why he amuses me a lot.
Colonel Sanders.
Yes. And in a way, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I've had professors like that. They have a slight bit of arrogance about them.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't think that it was on the. I mean, he wasn't nearly as offensive as some of his own teammates had been to him necessarily, but more just like.
No, but he was certainly apologetic after that.
Yeah, he was somewhat of a jerk.
But, he even kind of helps him get through at the end. So you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised about that. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I love the scene of I know it's slightly ahead, but the party is like, do we still have a test? Yeah, if it's okay with Mama. No, that's quite fine.
Well, I think that's one thing that you get to see as character development, because at first, yes, I mean he looks at this and he's kind of offended at this because he's making fun of his mother, but later on, he even quotes the guys like it come from that medulla oblongata. You know, he's realizing, okay, I was talking like an idiot, and he didn't want to be an idiot. He actually, you know, he's not stupid. He's just, like I said, ignorant, and that's not his fault.
Yeah,
I think this movie probably had a good hand in popularizing the medulla oblongata, because people would talk about it a bunch after this came out, like when they would quote the movie and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly certain most of us that didn't have a college education were totally unaware that was part of our brain.
What's that?
Oh, that's in there? That's cool.
So he's kind of learning the ropes when they're doing their team playoff, and I'm kind of iffy on my timelines here, so y'all can correct me. I know that they do a lot of these kind of montages of the games that they play, like the first game, one of the first games where he's sitting there and he ends up throwing it to the guy that he's planning on tackling.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Thank you.
I think that was the first game because they were kicking ass. He thought they were finally going to win their first game, and then he botches it.
I actually really liked how the guy was picking on him, but then when he tossed the ball, he actually was like, "Thank you." Then why, I don't know why I just made me.
Yeah, thank you. And it takes off.
I can't remember where it was between then and the whole barbecue scene, and then of course where he's meeting with the girl in his room and showing off the Arctic water. All that runs together, even though they're important scenes, because you know she's basically trying to embarrass him by showing those sheets. Oh God, what is he doing to those
the barbecue? Oh God.
Oh yeah.
I think we all knew a kid with sheets like that growing up.
I love how Mama's like, look what you have done. And she's like, I've done? like you're just sitting here fucking trying to embarrass your son. You know?
Hey, man, I've been present for situations like that. You know? Again, I think all of us, if you spent the night at enough random kids' houses growing up, you knew that kid with those sheets. And I will forever, for some
She
fucking
said that.
ungodly reason, have the first time I saw Last Action Hero associated with not only Crash Bandicoot, because I played the game for the first time the same day, but also with this kid's mom, like, clowning on him because he would hide his pissy underwear behind the radiator. So it's like, well, what the fuck have I walked into here, you know? Like, Last Action Hero is pretty cool and you have a PlayStation, but I don't know about this, bro.
And of course,
Yeah.
while she's asleep, she does get to sneak in there and fool around with him a little bit, but he kind of backs down on that.
Well, he has Mama, and he's like, "You better leave." But she does show him, she kisses him, and he's like, "Oh, that would be a first. That would be a first. Your first time kiss? Well, then this is probably a first too." And shows the boobs, and he goes, "Yes, that would be a first too."
Am I mistaken in, and maybe it's just the way that I saw the movies, but I feel like this was like that first Adam Sandler movie too, where it became like very apparent that he was populating the movies with his normal cast of like friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because Happy Gilmore was kind of that was probably the first of the major ones that he did like that.
Yeah, that was like his second major.
Airheads, he wasn't really a major character, so I would think that would probably be one of the first.
Right, and I feel like Billy Madison had more like SNL alum in it than it did just Sandler's friends, you know. But because
you had
Happy Gilmore, you could have been seen as a fluke, but this is where it's like, oh, okay, he's putting all these bros in his movies.
Yeah, Rob Schneider.
Oh gosh.
Sorry, Jake.
Well, I was just going to say some of the people in Billy Madison became regulars, but that was kind of leading off. So yeah,
but those two were like his some of his first, weren't they? As far as like starring roles,
major ones, yeah.
I mean, he had that first one like Overboard or something like that.
Oh, Going Overboard, and I think it's called.
I watched a little bit of it.
No, we don't talk about that.
It's fucking terrible.
I don't think I've even heard of that.
Dude, you're lucky. I was one of the few, I'm sure, like Forrest, that thought it was a good idea to rent that when they re-released it. And by God, that might have been the first movie where I ever wanted my time back. You know?
Yeah, I remember like renting it like after it was like somewhere between like Big Daddy and Little Nicky. I rented, me and my sister rented Going Overboard, and we shut it off after like 20 or 30 minutes.
Yep. It's about, I mean, even that wasn't worth watching. It's like 96, 97 in there somewhere.
Actually, came out in 89. Actually, I think it was like made in like 89.
Originally, yes. So... And then they rightfully buried it like they do the board game at the end of Jumanji and just hoped that it would never be unearthed. And then for some reason...
there's a video game version of it now.
No, it's kind of like how Lionsgate markets Jennifer Aniston in Leprechaun. They market the fuck out of Jennifer Aniston Leprechaun since she got big.
The difference, though, Forrest, is that was worth marketing.
Right. It's kind of awesome that she's in it.
Yeah.
It's this early role they were in this cheesy movie that they were in, and then years later, the distributors try to market the hell out of.
Right. Like later releases of Sizzle Beach USA with Kevin Costner. It's a thing that they do, you know. Sometimes for better, sometimes for a lot worse, and Going Overboard is in the latter category.
For all intents and purposes, you know, the first real Adam Sandler comedy would have probably been Billy Madison in '95, because that came right before Happy Gilmore.
Yeah,
because otherwise he was either in, because you know he was never really in a starring role prior to that.
I would argue in Airheads he is a major character.
He had third billing in Airheads.
Yeah, third billing, but he wasn't character. He wasn't like the lead though. He wasn't like the
I would say more because I would say Brendan Fraser and Steve Buscemi were running the show in that one.
True, but Adam Sandler talking about that dude that used to blow bong hits on his iguana is
the best part of the good. Movie. I mean, I'm not saying that these aren't there. I'm just saying
no snare drum.
the first time that he actually led a movie like solo, pretty much. Would be Billy Madison.
And then when you think about it, just really banger after banger until Little Nicky, and then it gets a bit sketchy. But
yeah, so long as we forget other things like Going Overboard, which would have been his very first.
I never knew anything about it. So
well, if you want to watch his first movie where he actually leads the whole thing,
I'm morbidly curious.
1989.
I mean, if you just want to see a slow-moving train wreck, then
Yeah.
for sure check it out, dude.
Or if
You
you
will
wanna
laugh at how
knock your-
bad it is.
Or if you need to get some sleep and you don't want to take any pills, that's a good.
Well, we fell asleep to it last night. Yeah, so essentially we have that, and then we have kind of some montages because he does get a win for them, and I love how they do the Gatorade thing where that's about the time where they do the picture of the Gatorade where he's like, Gatorade, and then they did that chorus.
The water
What?
sucks. It really sucks.
I can
The
only
water
imagine how
sucks.
that was on acid, Curl. So
Oh.
I salute your bravery for that shit. That could have very easily turned into a bad trip.
It did, but after Waterboy. I'll tell you the rest of the story later.
I have to say that the other team's experimenting like with the one with the towel boy, and he ends up getting slaughtered on the field.
When they decide, other teams are trying the same thing, and then like Towel Boy and
Well, it's the coach that tells him that Gatorade sucks or water sucks. Gatorade is
he says use it on the field.
Oh yeah, and of course we also get to see that our coach of our really prestigious team, he kind of gets a little nervous seeing this news, especially considering he knows the team, the coach that team is on. So he kind of grips his little playbook even closer during that. You can see he's sweating a little bit of it.
And he you can tell he's like, what the fuck did I had him all these years and never knew, you could tell he was like thinking that. That was the one thing that I thought was a little weird. I would think that he would have tried to steal him first and then discredit him when he couldn't. I was surprised that he went straight for discrediting him. Because imagine him on his team already.
They say he hated the man. He hated the guy, and he looked down on him. So there was no.
There's no denying the talent.
But they do kind of move quickly with that to where they end up winning the game enough to have a confrontation. And when they pull up, I mean, you have the scene with the girlfriend with the knife to the football player's throat.
That was great.
And them arresting her. But
we don't want to get do we, Coach Klein? And that's when the coach sleeks away because he doesn't want to get physical.
But they also let go that he never graduated high school. And I agree with the commentator that was on that video I sent y'all. It's like y'all never realized he didn't complete high school. I'm like, yeah.
It's fairly obvious, yeah.
And he throws. I think he threw like something out the window and hit Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
God, I just love how much damage, how much damage Colonel Sanders takes throughout this whole thing.
Am I not mistaken too in that? Okay, because Waterboy kind of came right at that time where you could argue like sappy sports movies were hitting an all-time peak there for a minute. And I feel like this was like we'd had sports comedies, Bad News Bears, whatever. We had tons of those, but not ones that were sort of actively taking the piss on the genre. We sort of really just had this and like Major League. Even to
and then you had Jerry Maguire came out a couple years before this.
Right. So this is like in a trend, I think, where people were starting to almost sort of reject those super sappy, sweet sports movies because we just had so many of them,
Yeah, because I would say you had Field of Dreams,
Bad News Bears.
Although at that point, Bad News Bears had been out 20 years.
That's OG. We might have the remake around then.
Well,
at the time this movie was made, you had Field of Dreams.
Remember the Titans? I remember Rudy.
Yep, yeah. Rudy. Yes.
Friday Night Lights.
Well, some of the ones you guys are saying are much later, but Rudy definitely would have been fresh in people's minds.
When was Friday Night Lights? Like 2000? I mean,
I think so.
2000.
Yeah.
yeah, they were still milking it for a bit even after
Yeah.
this, but these movies were like the subtle hint that it was like, okay, there's a certain subsection of the population that just wants to laugh at this shit now.
Right.
I don't remember when I checked out of like epic sports movies. I think I held on until that one about the people like in Alaska that went against the Russian Olympic team or whatever in hockey.
Mystery Alaska.
Yeah, that was I think the last time that I was like super invested in like a heartwarming motivational sports film.
Although actually they were although with that one they weren't playing against the Russians, they were playing against my Rangers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
That's one that I paid attention to.
I think I'm thinking of Miracle at the same time as I'm thinking of Mystery Alaska.
And Sandler does return to the sport 10 years later, almost. Actually, less than 10 years later, with the Longest Yard remake. Yeah, so... Yeah. Which I would normally have never watched, but I got sent because I had a Columbia House subscription that I forgot to send the director. So yeah,
we both have a little Sandler experience with those movie clubs your parents wish they never signed up for.
I wish I'd never signed up for.
Well, right. I think it's clear though, that he has like an affection for the stuff. I think that's why something like this works, is you have to have kind of like a little bit of affection for the genre for it to, because it is at the same time you could look at it as also another heartwarming sports movie, but I don't know, the thought occurred to me, so I thought
I don't think of it that way at all.
It's pretty heartwarming.
I'm a big sports fan,
so we have a kind of a double at fault here. One Adam Sandler's mother for not really getting him to real school and kind of fake homeschooling him, but also Henry Winkler's character for kind of forging the documents to get him into the college.
Yeah, I think he's the cheater and start calling him a cheater,
But they do manage to reconcile their differences with both of them trying to get back, because he does confide with him about losing the playbook to the coach. Basically,
when he's talking on the phone with his grandma, and then you see the cords cut. And then you see him wearing fucking high heels and shit. Yeah, it's just crazy.
And then, of course, the coach basically just bullies him because he's scared of the coach because the other coach is bigger than him. So ends up stealing the playbook, which you see him being very protective of that playbook afterwards.
Yeah. And of course, he fires him right after he gets the playbook because.
He inherits it. He gets the team.
Yeah, he doesn't need him anymore once he has the playbook.
So they kind of both have stuff to work on. He has the trying to get his confidence back, where Sandler is working on finally confronting his mother, letting him know that yes, I do like football and I do want to study. I want to be a college graduate, and he goes straight in and just hits those books. Which does work out for him because he does pass the test. Like I said, I do love that scene where she's at the window, looking like, "Do you need me to kill him?" Basically, miming before the test is like, "Nah." And that has that scene that you were talking about where he says like, "Benjamin Franklin is the devil. I invented electricity." So what did y'all think of that whole confrontation between them? Just a little background on the coach and that little rallying for Sandler to go ahead and confront his mother and pass.
Well, sorry, bro. I'm not trying to just not control. I'm also semi-nursing this dog a little bit over here.
Hey, no worries.
I don't know, man. I mean, I guess that's where lies like the inspiring part of the film. He's actually kind of trying to benefit himself, like better himself with his education, and he's obviously getting out from under the yoke of her like weird religious suppression and all that stuff. I mean, there's a surprisingly well thought out arc there with Bobby in the movie. I think that is easy to sort of underplay because the movie is so goofy, but it works surprisingly well. I think the way that they put it together is fairly expertly done.
I think so, and but we do get it to where, of course, as he's passed, that his mother ends up being sick from a disease that they don't know, so he has to drop out. which is also kind of funny if you see how the room is later. He manages to move almost the entire house into that hospital room. And I didn't realize. I thought that he moved her back home, but then I realized the second time I watched it, that's the hospital room.
That's a pretty permissive hospital there, I guess, to let you do that. But,
it was a different time. We'll put it that way.
But they do get the whole town together. Even the "you can do it" guy comes there. And I thought that was a pretty nice, touching scene. And it was enough to not win over his mother in the moment, but not long after, to where she was able to tell the real story about basically his father was an asshole who went to the city, found he liked it, and just said, "Screw you, I'm gone."
And hooked up with a voodoo woman named Phyllis.
So... I do like how they start with that like really like handsome muscular guy and then move on to that's a guy I used to date. No, this is your father.
Who was actually the director of the movie.
That also was hilarious. That's actually kind of thing that I could see like in a Joel Wynkoop film where he would put himself in like that, looking all crazy like that at the end.
Yeah.
Which would be really great.
We also can't, understate that dude's sweet nipple piercings. That's I got banned for a solid month on Facebook not that long ago, if you guys remember, right? For sharing the nipple tweaking gif from the Waterboy in a conversation that I was having in a private group. Someone apparently reported it, and they deemed it sexual activities. So. Old Cajun guy's nipples got me 30 days in the clink, and
go figure.
It was a rough go, but yeah.
But though we have we have the game, and they're not doing.
It's usually
that well.
something that comes after 30 days in the clink.
But of course, our heroes, they managed to get in a very nice souped up, thanks to his girlfriend, souped up boat, and they fly it basically to the game, so that at halftime he's able to join back and help them win the game. And they do a pretty good job of making it of actually having this coach use a little bit of strategy against the Waterboy by saying, well, we're ahead, we'll just force them to do offense because the Waterboy is only good with it comes to defense. So they just
I gotta say, when I was watching football, taking a knee is a bitch ass move. It may be strategic, but that is a bitch ass move.
Oh, it is.
But very much
used
within
it
that
frequently in Madden.
very, very much within that coach's wheelhouse. I'm sure you would agree.
Hey, sometimes you gotta play with those yards and all that stuff and the time, and it's the thing you gotta do. I've had arguments over football games where that was an option. So
yeah, it's definitely a bitch ass move.
Sometimes you gotta corner a motherfucker on Street Fighter and just spam that spin kick. I mean, I'm not above doing that.
Oh, I've done that shit in Street Fighter too.
Right, or when you get them in the corner and you block and you keep doing electricity over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. It only sucks when it's happening to you.
Right.
And of course that prompts our coach to finally get off his butt and invent new plays, which when the evil coach essentially figures out, and he does this by imagining the coach as a baby, which to me is much more of a monstrosity than what's a puppy. Yeah, the puppy was good, but that baby would have had me like, that's like that puppy monkey baby thing that they did with
the baby was hilarious.
But him managing to do these plays, and of course the other coach can't find him in the book, so he can't figure out how to counter him because he really wasn't that much of a coach. So
yeah, he was a shitty coach.
Well, he was a training coach. He could train up the people well, but he wasn't really good at strategy. So it was then of course they have their final showdowns. And I do like how he does pile drive the biggest bully in the team. They figure they get the biggest guy, and he probably can't take him. He ends up pile driving the two, which I'm pretty sure that whole that whole drop kick he does in the one guy, and then this pile driver probably wouldn't be legal in
NFL.
This is wrestling.
For the brief period that the XFL existed.
Yeah,
but this is college football, so yeah.
But yeah,
I can't help but think that
the NFL, they would have the refs would throw the yellow flags.
Yeah, but I can't help but think that like this and NFL Blitz definitely inspired the XFL. You know,
Right.
And you had some fun moments. You had the mother kind of like cheerleading it, and you had the.
I love how she's sobering up the whole cheerleader team. And
yes, who are drunk most of the time.
Oh, that cheerleader team's hilarious.
I think that's probably
cheerleaders are all drunk.
I think that's probably the one like illogical element of the movie that just doesn't ever track with me is the fact that Bobby's mom wouldn't be like into football already, though. I feel like a lot of those Southern people, all they know is God and football. So it just would be part of their culture down there to be into
the devil.
Sports, especially football, is king.
Yeah, so it's just odd, but I guess there's outliers in every, cultural segment like that in the States. So it's, she's just out there eating snakes and squirrels and shit. And
calling everything else the devil.
She wanted to protect her baby.
And they do use that Arctic water when they do kind of basically illegally tackle him and dogpile on him. And of course the water heals him instantly.
He jumps up and that's some good H2O.
But in the end, of course, they win. He marries the girl, and then his father shows up briefly, wanting to be his business partner, but the mother tackles him, which well deserved.
Yeah, that was great.
Rob Schneider with his 3 or 4 lines with "You can do it,
you can do it."
Personally, I think that's where Rob Schneider peaked.
Well, wasn't this his first collaboration with Sandler? And then, of course, later they were always together.
Well, maybe their first collaboration outside of SNL.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking that's where he found him. That's where they found each other. And of course, Sandler was also in Deuce Bigalow, European Gigolo.
I never did see that one, but I will say the first Deuce Bigalow was actually one of Schneider's funnier movies.
It's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Animal was all right as well, I suppose.
I never saw it.
None of those are great.
Wait a minute. Okay, we've actually covered one of his highest moments, which that's setting the bar pretty low, but he did have that role in Home Alone 2.
Oh yeah, he was good.
Yes, and also Demolition Man.
Yeah, I thought you was gonna say Demolition Man, and I was gonna be like, how dare you?
We haven't covered that.
Don't ever talk bad about that movie, but Rob Schneider is one of the best elements of it too, as the receptionist. He's bending gender stereotypes back then, so credit where it's due.
Bending the stereotype.
Yeah, he's a badass male receptionist.
So that's character and plots. Is there anything that y'all wanted to hit before we moved on to the not special, you know what I mean, the production design?
I can't help but think how hilarious it would be to swap the main dude from Island of Dr. Moreau with Bobby Boucher.
You mean Val Kilmer or
no, that other Weasley dude. I always forget his name. Wasn't he in fucking Harry Potter as that dude with the mustache that was like a werewolf? Or
dude with the mustache.
Oh, Lupin.
Oh, Lupin.
Yeah.
Okay.
That dude, he's in that Richard Stanley version of Island of Dr. Moreau, and I just think it would be funny to see Bobby dealing with all the animal people, and he's like, Marlon Brando really is the devil, mama. Like,
For a moment, I was thinking swapping his head with Marlon Brando's towards the end. That would be weird.
That'd be fun. I could get behind that.
So, well, why don't we hit production design? We had some
Oh,
effects being used and some pretty cool sets, especially the swamp set and stuff. So, what did y'all think?
Wait a minute, real quick. We skipped one, or at least if it was mentioned, I missed it. But I think there's one key player that we have
Overlooked.
Was that?
What happened?
What was that, Forrest?
Overlooked.
Yeah. Overlooked. And that's the assistant coach. I don't even know what language he's speaking.
Oh, we covered him. Yeah.
Cajun, and we did speak about it.
We touched upon him early on in the show.
Yeah, that's that motherfucker got me banned, dude. It's a sore subject, you know.
He's speaking Cajun, and
he's the best.
Yeah.
Like I said, I said before, I dare you to quote anything the assistant coach said, because you know, it's like, that's what he said. Except maybe a Cajun might know, but yeah.
And let us just be fair, okay? When I shared that GIF, it was celebratory, much like it is in the film. They were celebratory nipple tweaks, okay?
Oh yeah.
I don't feel there's a sexual connotation. I mean, when you get excited at a sporting event, sometimes you might want to tweak them nips. I don't see why that should be a problem.
Well, you know, Zuckerberg has an obsession with nipples. So
male nipples, especially. If he was breastfeeding two babies, swinging them around like a couple of titty tassels, it'd have been fine. But you see, he's tweaking some pierced male nips in his Cajunness, and it just offended the powers that be. And I think that's we got to change the stigma around that stuff. Is what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah, he does have a moment when they're all like in the locker room, and they're discussing the reason why they like Bobby or remember Bobby.
They have memories of Bobby.
And then he comes out and goes, and everybody's looking at him like, okay, why is this guy even speaking?
Well, so what did y'all think of the production design here?
I thought it was great. I mean, everything felt like it belonged. You know, the water was, you know, the water that he did as a Waterboy was really well done. Really good setup.
Whoever decorated Bobby Boucher's mother's house has got an A+ for me.
And the hospital room. In the hospital room, making
on top of all this, like the movie was this movie wasn't filmed anywhere near Louisiana. It was actually filmed in Orlando.
Really?
Yeah.
Also a place where there's a lot of moose.
I can believe
tons
that,
of them, bro.
Okay. I thought it was Louisiana.
My props. So I got to give props to the production design team for making it look like for making the Magic Kingdom look like the backwaters of Louisiana.
Right.
To be fair, I feel like there's a couple of swamp sets just lying around Disney.
Oh, yeah, it's Florida. I mean, of course, Central Florida.
Right. Yeah. Well, actually, Central Florida would be much less swampy than Southern and Western. But, you know, I do love I'll give a shout out definitely to the costume design. I think you know, you got that picture there with Bobby with the, you know, that over vest and the flannel. And then we already mentioned the leisure suits that he says he got from his dad. You know, they had some interesting costuming going on.
We got to bring those leisure suits back.
Actually, you know, they should have had a National Lampoon's tie in there. You could have had Cousin Eddie being his father.
That would have been amazing, dude.
It would have been thoroughly unsurprising.
But
I don't know, man. I think, you know, it's easy for us as like movie people to overlook the football end of the movie too. But I feel like that all feels pretty legit too, at least in terms of like, you know, the bar set by most sports movies back then. They do a serviceable job of portraying the football, I suppose.
Apart from
within the logic of the movie, you know.
Apart from using wrestling moves to tackle.
It was all shot well though.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, if they were doing pile drives and stuff, I probably would have watched more of it.
I still say give them scimitars, let them fight to the death over that Super Bowl cup. But what do I know? It's not even a cup, actually. So
I like
apparently nothing.
I like the head morphing thing that they would do with the imagination. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a neat effect.
Well, what about music? Actually, you know what's weird is
music was very 90s.
I feel like that this soundtrack actually was stuck out enough that you could recognize it if you've seen the movie enough.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed the soundtrack, definitely.
I did, although Forrest, I'm curious about your '90s comment because it's like, you got stuff in there. You got "Devil Went Down to Georgia," "House of the Rising Sun," "Born on the Bayou."
But when he's around Vicky Valancourt, they have that hooch song. I'm like, oh god,
that made me happy. That's a Richmond band there, and that was like their moment in the sun. So I was happy to hear that in the movie. But yeah, but I did. I liked the score. I liked the the score was okay. It was forgettable, but it worked for what it was meant to be. But I love the assembled soundtrack for this one. I'd actually possibly consider getting it.
Goldfinger on there. You got some Earth, Wind, and Fire. You got Allman Brothers. I mean, Rush, friggin'
Creedence Clearwater Revival when he's driving home when he first gets fired.
Right.
Actually, it surprised me when I heard that Goldfinger playing on there. I was just like,
being Gold, given that this is a 90s comedy, Goldfinger seems appropriate.
It's got a fastball song on there, man. I remember.
Fastball is like totally 90s right there.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think many people remember Fastball other than the one song, Past the Page.
Yeah, those of us that were with the Bach albums, maybe.
Yeah, which was few. It's a good stuff.
So
it's a good time capsule of the era for sure. Yep. I mean, I would agree with Forrest that it's pretty 90s or late 90s. I mean, you guys that are older than us probably don't associate it as much because it was the late 90s, but that's fair.
I mean, it was my first year in community college.
It's got a Schoolie D track on that bitch. The Doris. A lot of people on that. It's actually surprisingly,
back,
varied.
I might have seen this in the theaters.
Nice.
I can't say that. Why don't we hit favorites? And let's see here. Well, we started with our football star, but why don't we go the opposite end real quick, and we'll start with Tammy. What is your favorite scene from this?
I guess my favorite scene would actually have to be the very first time that he tackles, the guy. Everybody just looks, it's just everybody's just blown away. It's just the reaction from everybody and from himself is just like,
yes.
I think that's the greatest.
Oh, we actually have some comments here. So Adam Susan, of course, Captain Encino. This movie had a boost because it had the Star Wars Episode 1 trailer.
That's true.
Actually, with people who've experienced that, they don't realize the hype that was there at that time.
Holy crap, yes.
I remember the height and then the abrupt disappointment.
I had a friend.
It was all very vivid in my brain still.
Well, actually, IMDb has an interesting comment about that. They said that a lot of people, once a word got out that the trailer was showing for this movie, a lot of people would watch the trailer and then walk out of the movie.
That was kind of the norm back then. Like I remember people would go see movies just to see the trailer, like see certain trailers.
Yeah, especially you didn't have the internet.
I love watching the trailers, but I ain't paying to watch a trailer. I'm paying to watch a movie.
But then again, back then you could hit a matinee for like $4, so it's a little different than now.
The trailer is expensive.
That Star Wars hype though was real back in those days. Exactly, no YouTube. It was just because I remember that Star Wars Episode 1. We lined up and we waited in line for tickets there. I never did that for a movie before that, and probably not many afterwards because that tended to mean that it was a disappointment.
First and only midnight showing. I didn't actually see the movie at the midnight showing because it was sold out, but I went and I hung out with like friends from school in line and shit and saw all the people in cosplay, and it was pretty dope. I feel like it's the second one that me and my brother actually got into, and that one made up for the first one. But you're not wrong, man. They were selling those Burger King cups or whatever at McDonald's, wherever the hell those were coming from.
Burger King.
Yeah, I've got them all.
58
Actually,
bucks.
not still. I rebought them, but I do have that whole episode 1 line of those cups.
I had the original movies glasses from Burger King when I was a kid.
Oh, from the
That is
remasters
awesome.
or what? Oh, well,
No,
you're
no,
old
from
enough
the
that-
original.
yeah,
He's old enough
original.
to have seen the original.
And they did it again for the first box set
Remember,
they did in the 90s.
I'm old.
But,
Nobody does. I'm talking about the original.
So, Tammy, did we finish your favorite scene? I think we did.
Yeah, you're all set.
So let's see
you have
here.
a favorite
So,
line that's a different than the favorite scene? Tammy,
What?
do you have a favorite line?
That his line, that's what is it?
High quality H2O.
Yeah.
quality H2O, yes.
Okay.
Well, worst B guy. What is your favorite line there?
Oh God. There are so many.
Don't smoke.
That is a good quote. Yes.
If it's not the same as if it's not the
Kinda
same
like
line, I
like
was
putting
gonna
milk
say.
tea.
Quote, because I think when he first steps out and he's sipping the water, he's like, it's clean. It's now that's some high quality H2O. That is a good line.
I think we all have those moments as adults too. You're drinking water and being proud of it is a uniquely adult thing. When you're a kid, you're like, fuck water. I want something that tastes like some shit. But when you get older and you drink like some crisp ass water and it's like a nice water, you're like, damn, that is some high quality H2O.
Yeah.
And you might even be like, I'm just out here drinking water and like post about it because you're proud that you're staying hydrated,
Well, you learn to appreciate that stuff.
Favorite scenes, I would have to say any time Bob Boucher's mother slapped something grimy on the table. I would have to say Gatorade.
Yeah.
That whole section there where water sucks. It really, really sucks.
The water sucks.
Yes, seltzer for days.
Adam knows what's up, man.
Oh, and
LaCroix.
He's Adam Sandler's got that whole like nervosity down, especially when he's with Vicky Valancourt, and he's like, that's my first time with the lips and that tongue, So he's really got that nervosity down. I like that moment. So
I like your nervosity. Is that a Dave invention?
It is.
From now on, I'm pretty sure you mean nervousness, but I fucking love what you just said better. So that's what I'm going with from now on.
Yeah, well,
He does.
Dave
The
knows-
nervosity of that man. That's quite the performance.
Nervosity.
Let's see. So, next up in line is, let's see here, we've got Kotobukijake.
Favorites would be I again, that moment when you realize what role Henry Winkler's going to be playing in the movie, I just thought that was pretty hilarious, that reaction I had there. But as far as like favorite, I'm not sure there's one that really, really takes the cake. I mean, I've always known that, you can do it. And it was fun finally seeing that in the movie. I do think the part where Fairuza Balk was holding the knife to the dude was actually pretty great. I don't know why. I just thought that was pretty. Like some of her moments, she had some good moments.
Well,
Yeah, okay. I guess just to pick one, maybe we'll pick the one of his mother sobering up the cheerleaders. We'll do that just to pick one. But as far as favorite, yeah.
What about you, Forrest?
I'll say as far as favorite lines, anything that dude said that you couldn't understand, that would be a favorite line.
All friend.
Right.
Okay, so for me, favorite, I would say, oh God, when Henry Winkler is telling when Coach Klein is telling Bobby about his history with him between him and Coach Red about Bellew and how he's on the phone with his grandmother, and he tilts down. We find out the phone is not connected, and he's wearing high heels. That is probably my favorite. That is probably my favorite part of the movie. That is my favorite part of the movie. But there are just so many good moments in this movie. But that one just gets funnier every time I watch it.
It does.
And R.I.P. Jerry Reed.
Yep.
All right, Mo.
Well, Forrest actually beat me to the punch with the high heels bit because I don't know what it is about us, dude. Maybe it's growing up as on trauma or something. There's something so fucking funny about that, Not that there's anything wrong with cross-dressing. It's just the imagery involved.
I feel like I think it's maybe just because at that time everybody knew him as the Fonz, and seeing and that moment was just so like it was you were talking about earlier in the show. Yeah. It's so anti-Fonz.
Yeah, those aren't leather jackets on his feet.
Happy Days had quite the resurgence back then because as Nick and Knight had taken in prime in that late '90s slot.
But yeah, I mean that's probably my favorite overall scene, maybe. Other than just everything with Fairuza Balk. I mean, again, I'm not gonna double down much more on the crush I think most people of our persuasion had on her back then. She could hold a knife to my neck any day of the week, and I'm not gonna press charges. So everything with her was pretty great. I think favorite line in the movie, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I really have one. Yeah, I don't know that I have a favorite line that I could pick just one. There's so many fun ones throughout the movie that they're all kind of equally good, I guess.
So let's see here. 1998 was peak bucket hat. Indeed.
It really was, man.
I will
and then Fred Durst brought it back recently.
Who did you say brought back?
Fred Durst is working on it.
Yeah, actually, I would say Adam will know what I'm talking about, but I would say Jeanette McCurdy is bringing back the bucket hat.
Who's that?
Former Nickelodeon actress turned podcaster.
Hey, anybody that's working on bringing back the bucket hat, I'm a fan of. So let's do it. I considered buying one the other week, but
unfortunately, yes, indeed. There you go. There's a good line for you. I like confrontations. I'm a Virgo. Well, why don't we go to the to our birthday celebration? Our birthday boy himself. What is your so? As far as favorite scene in line, what's yours?
I have to do a few scenes. But the scene when he tackles Colonel Sanders, it's just so freaking, it's so funny. I mean, him tackling the football player is one thing. Those are great, but him just tackling his teacher, and it's like, "Oh, Klein says okay." It's just absolutely hilarious, and then of course the end scene with his mother tackling his father was just equally funny. Now you know where Bobby got it from, the mom. And favorite line, there's so many. There are so many, but I just love when he's talking, when he's yelling at his mom, and he says, and and I like Vicky Valens, and she showed me her boobies, and I like them too. It's just so great.
That was a good one.
Just so funny, and yeah. So I had to go with that.
Yeah, that
I
might be
think-
my favorite line as well. Now that
Yeah.
I think about it.
I agree with Adam there, except they should only show scenes from The Ridiculous Six and Overboard.
Yeah. See, that's kind of where I'm at with Sandler. Okay, if we're being real, I love all the '90s output, like all this shit. The Wedding Singer. There's a lot of great stuff that he did back then, but then it pretty quickly nosedives into some just sort of okay stuff for a minute, and then
I feel like,
almost pure trash. You know?
No, I feel like by the time by the turn of the century, he just started. By the time the new millennium started, he just started phoning it in.
Yeah, he's just farting out movies with his friends, and that's fine. I'm not one of those people that hates on him for doing that.
But we got to
in that position. We'd all be doing that all the time.
Yeah.
But the
I don't know. I kind of like Click.
Well, Click was good. Hidden Gems was good. It's just, but there's a lot of these.
Well, okay,
we're
talking about Sandler movies, Brandon. If we're gonna talk Hidden Gems or Punch Drunk Love or things that are like him stepping out the wheelhouse a little bit, he's pretty much nailed it every time he's done that.
No. Sandler was terrible in Jack and Jill. Al Pacino
Jack and Jill was awful.
Comparing Jack and Jill to Trauma, that it's like as a Trauma alum, I feel as someone who's been involved with Trauma, I feel insulted.
Actually, though, like I say, Al Pacino made that.
Trauma.
Al Pacino made that movie simultaneously almost watchable, and you just felt sorry for him.
Super awkward, bro.
Well, my favorite line is the one that Adam had said. Basically, you can do it, because I definitely I get that all the time.
You could do it all night long.
And of course, my favorite, which I'm surprised I hadn't heard is mentioned as much here, other than passing, was where they're doing that whole Gatorade thing. You know, that scene where he's having that visual like Gatorade, and then it goes.
That's definitely a great scene.
This motherfucker actually likes Jack and Jill.
Yeah, Jack and Jill is art.
Adam, it's okay.
I can't hear any jokes about Gatorade or anything like that without thinking about that line from Idiocracy.
Exactly.
It's got electrolytes.
That's what plants grow.
And to that point, I feel it's our social responsibility to say Gatorade is in fact not better than water. If you are not actually exercising to need the sodium and the electrolytes that are in Gatorade, it's actually way worse for you than just drinking water to rehydrate. So just stay healthy, kids.
And as they do demonstrate in Idiocracy, it's not good for watering plants.
But it's what plants pray.
Dude, I was trying to grow some cool blue tomatoes, okay? And you can't ever tell me that was a bad idea, even if it didn't work.
Indeed, stay hydrated. I think that's a good enough line to start running us out, because we do have an entire movie to cover after this. I think, who all is going from here to join us at Wolfman?
I think I'm the only one that fucked up and
of course
get to watch the movie.
So Mo, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on? I know you have the that Camp Sievage stuff going on.
Yeah, we have a Camp Sievage raffle going on. You guys can pop over to my channel, Retro Cult on Video, where I just did like a little 25-minute live stream or whatever, kind of detailing how to enter for it and showing off the things that you get for it. First tier is a 13 movie box set plus a replica of the Teen Ape mask. Second tier is, the Filthy McNasty quadrilogy and the Mulva double feature. And the third and final tier is just a copy of the Weirdsies. But either way, $10 entry gets you 3 chances to win something off of those tiers. All of the funds are going directly to Chris Seaver to support his current Wellsville Nights project, which is essentially Degrassi meets an R-rated fucked up version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he's shooting it in the same school that they shot Return to Nukem High in, so that's going to be pretty dope. I'm taking nothing from this. Yeah, you're going to love it, dude, I think, and I think you'd like a lot of the Chris Seaver stuff just for the jokes. but I'm taking nothing from this. You know, I'm actually spending money to do this because whatever is donated will be matched, rounded up, and then matched by me. So we're at $137 now, which I'll round up to $150. And I'll donate $150 of my own money. So Chris is already going to be getting $300, but if you want to help us pad it out a little bit, that would be much appreciated. I think he's about 60% of the way to his goal to fund the whole thing. So that's pretty cool. And we're going to announce the winners on Thursday night. So, yeah, there's that.
I know I got my 3 chances going.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So with that being said, I'll hand this back to Dave, and you can end us out as we get ready to leave.
Alrighty, my name is David Streggy. I'm one of the founding fathers of Delusions of Grandeur. So thank you for coming along with us on this film journey. So hopefully you've enjoyed the discussion, and we'll bring many more to you. But I also moonlight under a different channel called Inside Movies Galore, where we are about to howl at the moon with another film favorite for some of us. And on this channel, I also do some video pickups and video reviews, as well as chat with another group here. So did anyone else want to have a go? Brandon, am I giving it back to you, or are we?
Oh, I guess you can end us. It's your show, man.
All righty. So now that's some high quality H2O.
And you can do it all night long.
And I like them movies.
Yeah, rip his head off.